teams. And I don't know whether you saw the game Saturday night or heard anything about it, but Carolina, they lose his starting safety because he's on special teams. He returns a kickoff, he gets hurt, he doesn't play. And Randy even mentioned, he said he thought that was a big determining factor in the game. So I'm wondering, how do you balance risk-reward when you're looking at that kind of thing?
It's hard, it's because what you don't want to do is put that feeling out there that special teams aren't as important, and therefore guys don't need to be on those special teams. So unfortunately, injury is part of the game. I don't think that you ever try to play careful. If there are guys that are taking so many reps on offense or defense where it becomes a too many reps thing for them on special teams, then I think it's a good thing to hold them out. They can help you on special teams, and you have enough depth where they can be used on special teams, and someone could give them a rest during the game at their offense or defensive position. And I think you have to.
Yeah, I just wonder too. I don't know whether an offense and defense comes into that. An offensive player is used to getting hit. A defensive player is usually the hitter.
Yeah, it's what you want your skill kids, even if they're wide receivers, to play with a defensive mentality. And we preach that from the moment they walk in through the door. You're going to play with an aggressive defensive mentality, and therefore hopefully that'll carry over to special teams. So from the moment they get there, we teach them all how to block and tackle. I think the game still comes down to the fundamentals of blocking, tackling, catching, protecting the football. So they all get their reps, and then throughout the course of a week like last week, when we have a special teams emphasis week, we try to identify those guys that look a little more natural than others. Never giving up on the other ones, you still groom them, but the ones that show that natural ability, we really want to force the issue, want to press the issue, because if they're tackling guys inside the 20-yard line as opposed to teams starting at the 43, you're going to have a better chance of winning a football game.
Yeah.
Can you talk about I know you obviously the whole one game at a time, and this week is FAU. But these are guys that have had your number the last few years. The importance mentally of getting past this hurdle to get the goals that you guys want to get.
I just think we're a very different team with a very different mental makeup. And I know that the focus every game that we've had from the moment we've left the locker room and got on the bus or plane, I mean, all eyes were already tuned, all eyes and heads were already tuned into the next game. Obviously it's a team right down the road. Rivalry games always make it that much more intense. And it's an intensity that we embrace. A game that our guys have really been looking forward to for a while, and they have a ton of great athletes. They really do. They have a dangerous quarterback. They have one of the best tight ends, I think, in the country. And they're big. They have big skill, and they're big up front, on both sides of the ball. So they don't allow big plays. You're looking at a real good football team that beat UAB, and beat UAB on the road. So we're very well aware of their capabilities. And we're also aware of the fact that we're improving as a football team, and we're looking forward to getting better and better and playing again this Saturday.
Before you took the job here, did you have a lot of interaction with Schnellenberger at all? Because obviously it was well before. Was he before your time, or?
Well, he recruited my brother and myself out of high school. So he's just been in our home a few times out there in Little Havana. So he knew my family. He knew my father. Rest in peace, and whatnot. And obviously a very impressive coach, and done a great job throughout his career, and set the bar high for other coaches. So I have all the respect in the world for him, and really looking forward to playing him on Saturday.
Do you have any do you talk to him or anything other than anything special?
Not really. Not really. It's,
I don't know how much interaction there is among coaches even in the league during the season.
In the off season, when there's a night, an Adidas clinic, some type of coaching clinic, when you kind of run into each other. I think coaches that don't play each other, and you can see, nowadays you can see so far ahead on the schedule. If they're not on your schedule, you're kind of more willing to sit down and talk. But it's such the coaching carousel is one that you never know who's going to end up where. So a lot of times coaches are reserved in sharing important or information pertinent to winning, trying not to give up any edge that they may have found over the course of the summer through some kind of study. So yeah, it's those circles are real tight, and I'm a young guy. I haven't been in this. I'm 40 now, which is not overly young, but still kind of young. And so, we all know people, but I think, and especially for myself, we're very reserved in what we share.
He seems the definition of old school, though. I mean, just the way, his demeanor is, you just talk to him on the phone, and he feels like from not another era, but from a throwback kind of coach.
It's got a lot of history to him. We obviously we don't have a chance to watch how they practice and what they do. We know they've had a good football team, and we've been building ourselves to be a good football team. And again, our guys are ready to play.
If you had to pick one thing offensively throughout the season that has improved, what has improved the most?
For the running game,
running game in what way?
By the running game, the last 2 games we've been able to put up over 200 yards a game, and I think it's a credit to a mentality. It's a credit to a change in culture. It's a credit to the offensive line. It's a credit to the running backs. A lot of guys are playing, and some guys have stepped up and other guys have gotten hurt. So I think that's one of many things, as well as the run defense. I think our run defense started off hot. Then, we took a couple hits here and then got back on track. So there's been plenty of improvement and plenty to make. So I'd rather not give our guys any sugar just yet. Let's all keep improving.
How about the linebackers? They seem like they've been pretty stout.
They study. They're students of the game. I mean, if you come by on any given night during the week, they'll be in there. They'll be in there studying film and, watching every bit of it. They can regurgitate the coordinator's commands and calls and what he sees, pretty accurately, which is, I think, when you have that on the field throughout the course of the game that changes so fast where adjustments need to be made, on the dime, I think, you become a much better defense. So the quarterbacks on the field, basically, as well as Ash Parker, of course, and Jonathan Zipper.
What factor the fact that the offense is moving the ball a little bit of the ground game is how does that affect the defense? So, I mean, if it gets them off the field, I guess.
Keeps them off the field. And third down, again, improved for us last week. The better you can be on third down defense and the more you can control the ball, the more well-rested that bunch is going to be on the field on defense. So it's a combination of those things. I think it's one of the biggest things is really pride. Really taking a lot of pride in preparation and knowing that at the end of the day, that's what's going to make us better, being prepared.
Going back to the tight end that you were mentioning earlier, what did you see during tape that stood out for you? The FAU's tight end.
On FAU's tight end, he's a big, rangy guy that can run. And when they need a play, they have gone to him on several occasions. I believe he has almost 30 receptions to date, and playing them have been big ones. And he's a guy that they move around. It's not just a guy that put the line of scrimmage. They'll flex him out. They'll move him around. They'll put him in motion. And they'll use him to stretch the field. He's not just an intermediate route guy or a quick game guy. He'll get down the field. And at the same time, when they have to run the ball, whether they're tossing or running inside, they'll put him in the box. They'll have him light up linebackers and defensive linemen. So very versatile player. And they got a couple of them. It's not just one. And it matches up well to what they do. He's a great fit for their offense and obviously a dangerous guy that we have to, focus on.
Anything else? I need.
Cool.
Thanks.
Cool.